Good morning, everybody. We're going to get a start on how to make a Cubist style portrait edit. All right, and I'm starting with in Photopea, opening up a series of photos. This is my son Ben, and these are all photos that are okay, maybe not on the level of what I would want for a formal picture or candid shot. I could probably work them up and edit them a little bit, but I'm going to use these as slightly lesser photos and try to do something entirely different. Use your less inspiring photos perhaps as the basis for experimenting and making some art. So we're going to try a Cubist style edit, and Cubism comes from Pablo Picasso and George Braque in the early 1900s. They were making paintings. They knew how to make really realistic portraits, but they were learning that when we perceive the world with our eyes, we can't really look at everything at once. Our eyes dart around and look at pieces at a time. Like on this, try to look at his eyes, and then his teeth, and then his eyes, and then the rock in the background. And you notice that we perceive the whole picture. We see the world around us, but what's actually happening is our eyes are taking pieces and assembling them to give us a picture in our brains. And that's the basis of Cubism. You take that realization that we don't really see the world until we assemble it. What would it look like if we disassembled it, if we took it all apart? And that's what Cubism's as an art form is working with, right? Taking the pieces of the world and rearranging in some way, and abstracting them. So let's take this photo here. The way we're going to start is I notice all these photos are a bit sort of flat and dull because of the shadow on them. So I'm going to first actually add an exposure adjustment. Just bring up the exposure about a stop or so. Perfect right there. I like that. And maybe offset it a little bit, get a little more contrast and detail in there. Okay, that's good. And here's a cool little tip. When you're working with a series of photos and you want to take the same adjustment, I can grab that layer, the exposure, and just put it on others. When it turns blue, drop it. Pow. And then grab it again and put it on the other one. Pow. And again. And what this will do is help to balance all of the picture's pieces when we start reassembling it, if that's what you want to do. All right, that's an option. All right, and now let's go back to the grimace. We're gonna, break it apart and cut it up. And over here in the crop tool, there's the crop tool right there. We want to use the slice tool instead. And you can cycle through these tools by pressing C on your keyboard. I'm gonna click slice, right? And on this one, I'm gonna start about the middle here and draw a box where the mouth is. All right, and what it's doing right now, we get this big box at the top and these four on the bottom, and one of them's blue, right? And I can click on it and add more. Right, here's another cropping. But if I want to adjust it, I have to go to the slice select tool or just push C and see the little arrow or a little triangle direction symbol, whatever that is. And I can grab that and now I can adjust it differently. And just play around with it a little bit. Maybe I'll get the eyeball here separately like that. How about that? Okay. Now, once you have the photo cut up into a few pieces, you then have to export it. And so you go to File, Export, JPEG. We'll use JPEG format for this project. Like most. Excuse the phone. All right, and when it asks you what level of quality, go for 100% quality. We can, it can handle it, I think. All right, and we will then save it. And what it's going to do is save each piece as a separate photo. Let's call it Ben Cubism, and we'll call it number one, because I'm going to do this on each photo as well. And see, it's going to save it as a zip archive. What that is it's like a package, and then you have to open that up on your desktop or on your computer somewhere, wherever you save things, okay? So you'll pop it open, go show it, the Finder. All right, here it is. It's zipped up. You're gonna double click it. It'll look different on your Chromebook. All right, so there is the folder, and look at this. There's the images. Pop it open. There's all the pieces right there. Okay, and do that on a few photos and get a whole bunch of pieces to work with. All right, that's step one.